Saturday night main event review. I'm Will. That's Brandon. We're the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling podcast. As always, let's cheers. Talk about some wrestling, huh?
Yeah, I would say these Saturday night main events have been pretty boring and not much to really talk about. This one, I would say, was the best one we've had yet.
Yeah, thank you all for showing up to our live stream when we were a day late because we weren't able to watch it live. We did it Sunday morning. So thank you for being there on youtube.com/@CodWrestlePod. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. But let's get into it. We started hot with Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker teaming up to take on Punk and Sami Zayn. And right away, you're like, okay, the crowd's hot as can be here, which is really nice. You need that kind of thing on a Saturday night main event. But this match was basically a tale of two matches happening in one, kind of. So most of the offense was done between two matches broken up in one. You had Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker going after each other, and you had Punk and Seth Rollins going after each other, which was a lot of this match here. And Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker obviously have a ton of past given their IC title feud from last year. So they were hitting all the marks there. Braun Breaker started right away with his I jump off the apron and clothesline you thing, which was awesome. And then obviously CM Punk and Seth Rollins, they got a bunch of history going at it over the past year and a half, 2 years, ever since CM Punk made his way back into the WWE. But it all culminated late in the match when Sami Zayn was getting hot, and he looked like he was going to haluva kick Mr. Braun Breaker in the corner after CM Punk and Seth Rollins were on the outside of the ring until Paul Heyman grabs Sami Zayn's foot. And Sami Zayn turns around, and the ref turns around, and they're both like, what the hell? You can't do that. And we were sitting there like, oh, are they going to throw out Paul Heyman? You can't throw out Paul Heyman.
Nobody ever throws out Paul Heyman.
You can't throw out Paul Heyman. So they're getting mad at him. And then in the corner of our eye, on the camera, you see the crowd start reacting, and you see a big old man jump over the barricade. We're like, who the hell is that? And then you see this big old man sprinting into the other side of the screen, and the camera cuts. It's Bronson Reed, and he running he doesn't spear him. He just kind of runs through CM Punk through a barricade. And then that's enough to distract Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn walks over, is like, what the hell are you doing? Turns around. Braun Breaker's there for a spear. Spears the socks off Sami Zayn. 1, 2, 3. So Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins win the match. But Braun Breaker stands up and he's like, what the hell is this man doing here? Bronson Reed then gets in the ring, and you get yourself a little stare down between Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, and Braun even starts undoing his straps. He's like, all right, I don't know why you're here, but let's get after it. Till Seth Rollins taps on the back or the shoulder of Braun Breaker, and then he walks over to Bronson Reed, gives him a big old hug. Even Paul Heyman's like, oh my God, look at what Seth has done. This is amazing. And Braun Breaker's having to be talked down by Paul Heyman, but he kind of gets, he's like, okay, this is going to be good. Him and Braun Breaker shake hands. CM Punk's not done. He tries to go after Paul Heyman after the match, but Bronson Reed is like, nah, screw you. And he does a tsunami to him and jumps on him. So absolute craziness stuff here. But, Bronson Reed has officially aligned with Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker and Paul Heyman to form what looks like to be the new Evolution or whatever big-time faction's next up on Raw. This is insane. I love to see Bronson Reed back, popping all of it.
Yeah, we talked about this in terms of, I think it's either Sami Zayn or I think it would be Logan Paul were our two kind of thoughts here. Bronson Reed would have been a thought, but with the injury that happened at War Games, you're like, well, there's no chance he's back anytime soon. Well, it was a pretty quick turnaround in all honesty. I am super excited to see Bronson Reed back. He finally kind of got that push a little bit with the Braun Strowman stuff, and he kind of turned himself into a big time deal going after Seth Rollins even at one point. And then you look at it, he went against Sami and Punk at War Games. So there's a whole lot of history there kind of intertwined. And this is phenomenal. It's going to be really interesting, like you said, to see how Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed play off each other because they are both the heavy guy, right? They're both the muscle. And Braun Breaker seemed to take offense to that. Like, well, no, I'm the muscle guy here. This is my thing. So we'll see how that goes. But I mean, in terms of you look at the three of these guys plus Paul Heyman, phenomenal stuff. I cannot be more excited. And it's somebody that Paul and Seth can kind of do the talking for again. They can kind of take on that role. And Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker can both go out and they can just be the in-ring guys and let the other two carry the promo stuff.
I'm a little bit worried just based off of the history that Seth Rollins and Bronson Reed have, because it feels like Bronson Reed at any point could just be like, dude, I destroyed you before. Why isn't this my group? So it's going to be a little bit hard for me to buy into like the storyline of how Bronson Reed's now working for Seth Rollins. But at the end of the day, this is awesome. When they're all holding each other's arms up at the end of the match, I was sitting there like, okay, yeah, that's definitely one of the most formidable factions that we've had in years in the WWE, like Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, Seth Rollins, with the mind of Paul Heyman behind it. Like, that's awesome. They should 100% be going after the title because they deserve the title shot at that point. Or not shot, but they should be in the title scene at that point, just given who they are. So I'm with you. I had no idea it was coming because Bronson Reed, it feels like breaking both your ankles was going to take longer than that to heal. But guess not. He's a freak of nature. Love to see him back. This is awesome. I can't wait for Raw now. It's going to be sick.
Yeah, a little bit to your point about there is going to have to be a little bit in terms of storytelling, a little bit bought into why are you guys okay? Yeah. But at the end of the day, I just would assume it's maybe like an enemy of my enemy sort of thing, and maybe that's the means to it. But maybe we'll see. Maybe we always thought that Braun Breaker was the one to turn on Seth, and that's like the feud here. Maybe you get Bronson Reed eventually down the line. Maybe he's the first one to turn on Seth or something like that. Who knows?
It was a little interesting just diving deeper into it. Paul Heyman's reaction to it and Braun. Obviously, it looks like in story, Paul and Braun Breaker didn't know. So, because even Paul Heyman in the ring, when Seth hugged Bronson Reed, even Paul Heyman was like, oh, okay, this is awesome. Look at what Seth has provided for us. But it's like, normally Paul Heyman is, a lot of the brains behind everything that goes on in these factions. And it looks like one of the first big decisions of the faction was handled without his knowledge or consent or any of that.
Yeah, not only did he not make the decision, he wasn't even informed of the decision, which is something you don't see from Paul Heyman factions ever.
Yeah. So something to look forward to there. Next up was the U.S. title match, Chelsea Green versus Zelina Vega. Oof. Oof. Right away, Chelsea Green started off hot here. They spilled out to the outside of the ring, and Chelsea power bombed Zelina Vega on the outside. Ate it.
Love a good old hard power bomb like that.
And didn't celebrate or anything. Just picked Zelina up, threw her in the ring, went for the pin, got the 1-2 there. But she was destroying Zelina Vega for 85% of this match until Zelina would get hot there for a minute. Until she went for the 619. She went for a 619 and kind of got caught up on the rope. And so she didn't get the full kick of the 619. So she made up for it. She's kind of stuck in between the ropes, and Chelsea's laying there. She made up for it by just full-on soccer kicking with her right foot Chelsea's face. So Chelsea's face gets busted open immediately from this. It's spilling out of her nose. When that happens, Zelina goes up to the top rope trying to get something off, and that's when the Secret Service gets involved. One of them distracts the ref while one of them tries to beat up Zelina.
Alba Fire gets the ref. Piper gets the...
And Zelina's able to just kick away Piper, and the ref's able to just be like, no, leave to the other one. And so the Secret Service doesn't really get injured here. They're just on the outside, like with their backs turned to the ring and just like scheming or something. And during that time, while they're scheming or something on the outside, Chelsea tries to go after Zelina on the top rope, but Zelina turns it into a top rope code red. 1, 2, 3. Zelina gets the win. So the Secret Service sits there looking like a bunch of idiots. Their back is to the ring while Chelsea's getting pinned. Chelsea's bleeding everywhere. Zelina, it was bad. I'm not a fan of this match. Don't really have much else to say about that. Dropping it.
Yeah, this was the low point of the night.
Yeah,
for sure. This was really rough. You listened to the interview pre-hand before the match with Chelsea, and she's talking about how everybody adores her, and she's going to be the second or the first ever 2-time U.S. women's champ and all this stuff. And she comes out and the crowd loves her, and there's signs, and there's even people in hats, and there's people saluting and all of this stuff. Zelina comes out and there is nothing. There is no character. There is no pop. There is no cheer. There is no boo. It is indifference, which is not good. You look at the in-ring stuff. Zelina, once again, doesn't really have a whole lot of offense in now. This is, 4 times she's beaten Chelsea now. Chelsea gets a majority of the offense. She just straight up injures Chelsea, just kicks her right in the face. And she gets the win at the end of the day. And it's just like, okay, whatever. I at this point, if they're just not going to give it back to Chelsea, maybe somebody like a Julia is the hope, with Julia pinning Zelina on SmackDown. Secret Service over the last couple of days, they've lost some stock. They lost to B-Fab and Michin, and now they look, like you said, a bunch of idiots basically out there. Felt like something that they really had a opportunity to have like a gold mine. Like, hey, this is kind of like something we didn't necessarily think was going to be phenomenal, but because of the talent, it's great. And it seems like they don't want it. And I guess maybe we have to come to terms with that. Maybe that's just that, hey, we have to temper our expectation.
When Chelsea had the belt originally and Alba Fire debuted, that felt like they had really pulled off something here. Like something was building that was going to be really, really good. And Alba was then for the next 2 or 3 weeks was treated with that sort of respect and was sort of like, you know, the combo of her and Piper was a threat. It was formidable. And now, I mean, their backs are to the ring. Like they're just scheming while not watching the match. Like it's just dumb. You look stupid here. And now Chelsea's been pinned 4 times by this, you know, this talent that is having a hard time getting over, while Chelsea is just over as can be. And I get it. You don't just put the belt on anybody who's over. I get that in wrestling. But story-wise now, you don't really have any way to dig yourself out of this hole. You kind of just have to move on from it when it comes to Chelsea and the Secret Service. And that just feels like a total miss. It's really it just feels missed. Like it's just done. We don't have anywhere to go from here now.
Yeah, and there's nowhere to go because not only did she lose once again, she's not in the Money in the Bank match, which people thought, hey, maybe if she does lose the title, maybe she can do that. Maybe that's the next step. So she doesn't really have a clear path, and sometimes that's okay. But with somebody like this that is so over with the crowd, you kind of want a clear path. Zelina just lost on SmackDown to Julia and Charlotte Flair, which Julia got the pin. So maybe that's where that feud eventually goes.
Yeah.
But, I mean, just seems like a real missed op. Yeah, it feels like a missed opportunity.
I agree. Let's move it on. R-Truth, John Cena. This was fun. Man, this was fun. We get our entrances here, and John Cena comes out first, which we should have known something was up. Champions don't normally come out first unless you're Jey Uso because you eat all the way down. But John Cena comes out first. He makes Lillian Garcia redo his entrance, which was fun to see because Lillian's obviously one of the most respected ring announcers of all time for WWE. And then the music hits again, and it's the lights and everything's there, and it's Ron Cena. R-Truth comes out with everything. He comes out with his own John Cena merch that says Ron Cena, the red shirt with the saluting man. He does the let's go to work with the looking into the camera with the towel, runs to the ring. He throws the hats. He
throws up the threes, and he's ready to go. He's in the jorts.
He's in the jorts.
And the sweatbands and everything.
Yeah, he's literally mimicking John Cena's gear. Like they're 2 men battling in jorts and all that good stuff. Anyway, Cena attacks right away with this, and he beats the hell out of Archer, rips his shirt off, immediately gives him the 5-knuckle shuffle. But then Ron Cena reverses the AA, and Ron Cena hits his own 5-knuckle shuffle and the AA on John and gets the 1-2 ooh. And after this, they just go to the outside. John Cena does get the advantage. It throws him back into the ring. And that's when Cena goes and gets the belt. When he comes back in the ring, you know, like we've seen with Orton, like we saw with Cody Rhodes, he lines up to hit him with the belt. But when Ron Cena turns around, he looks at John, and John's like, uh-oh. And he puts the belt down, and the crowd's starting to cheer. And it looks like John Cena's rethinking what he's doing with this whole heel thing. And he walks over, and he gives the belt to the ref. And while the ref is receiving the belt and then giving it to the timekeeper, John just walks over, kicks for R-Truth in the nuts, AAs him, 1, 2, 3. John Cena wins it. And then he goes and he grabs the title, and then he hits R-Truth over the head with it. And then it's like a drive-by shooting. He just hits him with the belt and just walks directly out of the ring to the back. John Cena gets the win over R-Truth in phenomenal fashion. He gets the win over Ron Cena, more like it. This was exactly what it needed to be. Popping this all the way, man.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I threw the idea out there of like, what if he comes out in this stuff? Never thought that this would actually happen. So now that as soon as it did, I was like, yep, this is great. As soon as the music hits again, and then he comes out in the gear, you're like, this is going to be fun. And that's what I needed from this match. And after the previous match, I needed fun. I needed something to kind of buy me back in, kind of hook me back in for the night. This was fun stuff. It was exciting. Obviously, we all thought Ron Cena's not going to get the win here, but there is that slimmer of hope there. There is also that slimmer of doubt with John Cena about, should I continue to keep doing this? It's all part of the plan, though. It all goes according to plan, and he hands the title back, low blow, boom. Don't know exactly what people maybe wanted out of this, but this was about as good as you could get, I would think.
And it was quick. Man, it was quick. It was like a 5-minute match, man. It hit literally every beat it needed. It didn't add any fluff to it. The story beats at the end with Cena, will he, won't he, were perfectly done. You get the nut tap and you get everything back to business. We walk out of the ring. But afterward, we get Jey Uso walking in back, and he runs into Mr. Jonathan Cena. And Jey Uso's like, last time I saw you, I threw you out of the Royal Rumble.
That's not what he said.
The Royal Rumble is what he said. The Royal Rumble oos. And John Cena's like, yeah, that's cool. That's cool. But imagine this. Imagine a world in which I ruin wrestling. And not only when the clock strikes midnight for me, not only do I get to take this belt home, and he points to the one on his shoulder, but a YouTuber is wearing that belt that you're wearing. That would really ruin wrestling, wouldn't it, for you? And Jey Uso just kind of looks down and they kind of walk away. But that set a tone.
Mm-hmm.
That set a tone for future stuff.
Which we'll get to in a little bit.
May or may not come. We get the steel cage match next. Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre, and Jesse Ventura is on commentary. This man put on a show on commentary. I thought it was spectacular. I think he's phenomenal. Him and I have very similar ideas about the end of the match. So we'll get to that. But Drew would attack Damian before he even got to the ring. Outside the cage, through the door, threw him off the barricade a couple times, and that gave Drew the chance to throw in a couple chairs. So there were a couple chairs in the match that we didn't get to see till the end, but they beat the hell out of each other. It was a steel cage match. They were throwing each other against the cell.
Claymores and South of Heavens from each other to each other. Drew did a South of Heaven. That was fantastic.
Drew South of Heaven, which, yeah, he got him high up.
It was really good. They got that superplex off the top.
Superplex off the top. But, yeah, I mean, they were absolutely killing each other. But eventually, we get to the steel chairs. And Drew goes over and sets up a steel chair in the corner just like he did at WrestleMania when he Claymored Drew McIntyre or Damian Priest's head into the chair in the corner. And he sets it up, and he sets Damian Priest up to do it, runs for the Claymore, but Damian moves this time, which means Drew's knee, leg goes through the chair and turnbuckle. And then Damian Priest is able to beat the hell out of him for a little bit with the chairs. And then he takes a chair, slides it under Drew's head, concertos him. And he throws that concerto, man, which is sort of a callback because Damian Priest did do that to Edge when they kicked him out of the Judgment Day originally. But after he concertos him, he calls for the door to be open, and he walks out, and that's when Jesse Ventura just starts going absolutely in on it, because I agree it's stupid that we have a door on a steel cage match. You should have to go over the top. Not going to drag that anymore. But Damian Priest wins this match, concertos Drew McIntyre. It's looking like, and the rumors are stating, that we're going to write off Drew McIntyre for a while. It looks like the injuries that he sustained at Backlash and before that are a little bit too much. So we need to give Drew some time to heal. And if we need to give him time to heal, then Damian was the right man for the match. This was great. We're winning it. Popping it.
Yeah, it was a nice little fun match. Hard hitting, just like we said it would.
Yep.
A lot of two big guys not liking each other. A lot of fists, a lot of kicks, a lot of, I think Jesse said it pretty spot on. He goes, there's not a lot of wrestling. It's going to be a lot of fighting. Mm-hmm. He says that when Damian's walking out, and it just kind of seems weird timing-wise, but that's what you got here. You got to fight, and it was fun. It was exciting. It was good stuff. Not much to really add here. Sucks that Drew does have these injuries. Sounds like maybe a neck surgery is a possibility as well, so that is not good. But Damian Priest gets the win here, and we'll see if Damian Priest with the concerto at the end, maybe makes him stop trying to be overly babyface is kind of the main takeaway for me here. Maybe there's that mean streak in him again to where he is kind of more of the tweener, more of the I don't really care anymore. Because for a while there, he seemed to kind of be like the over-the-top babyface, and that doesn't really work for Priest. So I like it when he is in the middle, even leans a little bit more towards the heel side of things. So we'll see if that kind of snaps a mean streak in him, and we'll see what happens next.
Yeah, I mean, with Drew being out, if they do, if it is right, or if the rumors are true and Drew needs a lot of time out, you are missing a big time heel-ish guy, tweener guy on the roster. And if Damian Priest, if this is going to be his first step back into that role, if you look at the concerto as like a heel-ish move, that's great, because I think Damian Priest being a face to me has kind of, worn off. I'm not as much bought into him. I would much rather him be the very in-between guy that shows more of a heel than face, in my opinion. That'd be interesting on SmackDown for me. It'd fit in a lot of places as well. So, Great match. Great steel cage match. Hopefully Drew gets better if he does need surgery. And hopefully Damian Priest can take on whatever role he needs to. And we can get him back to being a top level guy to the crowd again. Because I feel like a lot of people are kind of in the boat of what we are of like, yeah, it's Damian, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. There's not a whole lot there.
Yeah.
Maybe he could call the limo.
Yeah, that was a
limo
great call.
pick him up.
Jesse Ventura, as Damian Priest was leaving the cage, was like, why doesn't he just call a limo driver to come pick him up if all he's got to do is walk through that steel cage door? Steel cage matches are useless if they don't have to escape from the top. Book it. Then we get to our main event, though. Jey Uso, Logan Paul, the YouTuber. We have all that stuff that happened earlier with John Cena and Jey Uso. Should have seen it coming. But Logan would start hot here. In fact, Logan had a great match. People are still going to hate on him. Dude was doing everything he was doing, man.
He's one of the top sellers in wrestling. Like, he can sell.
He can
and
sell.
Jay kind of needs that sometimes.
Yeah, he can sell a Jay super kick unlike anybody, honestly. He was selling Jay super kick all day long, including one where Logan went for a buckshot lariat, Hangman Adam Page, and he buckshot. And when he went for the lariat, Jay super kicked him. And I mean, Logan Paul looked like he got shot by a gun, man. I mean, he sold out of his butt. It was great. But after that, Logan rips the middle turnbuckle off. And so that's exposed now. Jay would go for a spear, but that's when Logan Paul would move and send Jay into that turnbuckle. And then he hit him with the prime punch or whatever you call it. Titanium punch.
Prime punch makes a lot more sense.
Would be so much better. But he gets the 1-2 there. And after that, Jey Uso gets
much tweet at him.
We should. Jey Uso gets a bunch of his offense in that ends up ending in a Jey Uso splash. Looks like the match is over. 1, 2. John Cena's there. And he pulls the ref out. Dude's been mean to refs lately, by the way. But he pulls the ref out. He starts attacking Jey Uso. Just beating the hell out of him. Takes a towel off and starts choking him with the towel. And Logan Paul's looking at him like, oh, I like this help. This is nice. John Cena helping me in a wrestling match. And right when things are crescendoing, Cody Rhodes, the quarterback, is back. He runs to the ring. He attacks John Cena and crossroads John Cena. And then Logan Paul ends up getting back in the ring, but Jey Uso is there, spears him, gives him a good old Jey splash. 1, 2, 3, gets the win. But at the end, Cody Rhodes takes the mic and he challenges John Cena and Logan Paul to a match against him and Jey Uso at Money in the Bank. Woo! This ending was great. Cody Rhodes returns, attacks John Cena, saves Jey Uso, and now we have ourselves a Money in the Bank tag team match. Cena, Paul versus Uso and Rhodes. This is fantastic. Popping all of it.
Yeah, I mean, the start and the end, the bookends here. You had Bronson Reed come back, and then you have John Cena trying to really ruin wrestling. And then you get Cody Rhodes, the captain, the quarterback. He's back. I couldn't be more excited. I was very happy about this. Yeah, the match, like you said, it was good. I enjoyed it. Jay's improved in the ring. Logan is really good in the ring, obviously. I think even if you hate Logan, you should probably acknowledge he can wrestle. So that match was good. It was exciting. It kind of flew by. Obviously, we watched it a day late, so no ads. So the time just flew right on by. It made it real nice and easy. The tag match is mind-blowing, I guess, in a sense. You have the most over guy in the company. You got Jey Uso. You got also the biggest babyface, I guess, Cody Rhodes, against the biggest heel in John Cena and Logan Paul. It's like, wow, you say that out loud and you're like, wow. You had kind of thought that maybe something like this was going to happen at Money in the Bank. I can't wait. It's another chance we get to see John Cena in something. We get more wrestling with John Cena. As the dates start to kind of dwindle down, I'm bought in on that. So sign me up. I don't know how this is going to go, or maybe if there's another member, another wrestling ruiner out there that's going to make an appearance, but sign me up.
The rumors for months have been that Travis Scott was going to team with John Cena, and he probably is going to show up at Money in the Bank. But the thought of that being a tag team, like that, I can't defend that, right? So what do? You add Logan Paul, who is a wrestler and a good one at that. I don't care what people say. They're going to hate on him for their own reasons. That's fine. But when it comes to wrestling, he is a professional wrestler that should be in the ring. And honestly, he's probably going to put on more of a show than John Cena in that match, right? and then you take on Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso. That sounds so much better than trying to tack on like a Jey Uso with some, Bad Bunny versus Travis Scott and John Cena. That just stinks, man. So I like the path they're going here. I like the idea of like John Cena wanting to ruin wrestling as a whole, not just for SmackDown, but like as a whole. I want to leave with this title, and then I'm going to make sure a freaking YouTuber has the other one when I leave here. That will ruin wrestling for you guys. That story makes sense in John Cena's storyline here. So I'm hyped for it. I think it's going to be a good match. We knew John Cena wasn't going to probably have a big time like one-on-one singles title match because there's not enough time to build something proper for that. So you do this tag match at Money in the Bank and you build up what's probably going to be Cody Rhodes, John Cena for SummerSlam. So that all looks good to me, man. We're going all the way there. I like it.
Yeah, and it can even be something as, I want to see John. Well, so you have Logan, who's going to take probably a bunch of the wrestling on that team. And then probably Cody on the other side. So then on the other side, you get John and Jay interacting, the two main card title holders in the match. Like, that's a big fight feel. And that's something I want to see. Like, I want to see how those two interact, because at the end of the day, like, John coming out and attacking Jey Uso in this match, you're like, oh, wow. Like, that's a bigger thought process, a bigger thought bubble than something I'd ever thought. Like, okay, you're going to ruin wrestling on SmackDown. At least I still have Raw to look forward to, and I can enjoy Raw, and I can yeet at the end of the day. Well, now you take that away from me too. That's really going to suck. So I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, all it's done is expand John's heel. I want to ruin everything, which it works for me. If you don't like heel Cena, it's to you, but man, I like it. It's good stuff. Anyway, though, we gave Saturday Night Main Event an 8 pops, 2 drops. That's about it. It was a good show. I know everybody was saying the commercials were killer when you were watching it live, and I'm sure they were. I'm not defending that at all. But for us who got to watch it late, got to watch it without commercials, it felt like it was this. It was good stuff. Liked it a lot. But we'll be there on Monday night on youtube.com/@CodWrestlePod for our Raw live stream, because we do Raw, SmackDown, and PLEs there. So please tune into that. For everything else, @CodWrestlePod, COD WrestlePod. We have a link tree in our bio. It's got everything there. Go ahead and follow all of our socials. We greatly appreciate it and think that you guys would love this type of wrestling content. But I'm Will. That's Brandon. We're the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast, and we will see you next time.